Previously on Power. Nah, previously on 2020.
Like I'm not gonna lie, like I've been divorced for probably just as long as Malcolm, and like it's a day to day struggle, to go ahead and try to find that balance and find yourself again, but also being able to go ahead and really trust in other people too, because if you put all your trust in that one person, like when you're married, you know how you use the example of like putting all your eggs in the basket. And when you married, for me, I burnt all the rest of the baskets. Like I had no other baskets but that basket that I had all my eggs in. So when it comes to those things, and then that basket isn't worthwhile, then I mean you're kind of lost in a way. You know what I mean? So I mean, Malcolm, I feel like it was like one of those like walking zombie things where like you did everything to make sure that you still had a roof over your head and stuff like that, but when it came time to doing things that really made you feel like it's, or at least for me, it just didn't kind of go the same way.
So the way it all really ended, because like I said, the person never went away. The person stood there and all that good stuff. And I finally asked the question. It was like a big argument had come up and a bunch of other stuff. I had lost my job, a whole bunch. All a bunch of stuff just piled up on top of each other. And I asked the question. I said, "Do you still want me?" And the answer was no. So I was like, "Okay, cool." And I remember calling Jeremy, and I was like, "Bro, yeah, I think this finna be it." And then that's when I called Lauren, because I ain't okay. But she gonna fuss at me. But anyways, but what ended up happening was a lot of shit just started piling up, and then divorce came into play. And my mindset was still, I don't want to be like my folks. I don't want to be like my folks. Like I don't want to end up that way. I want to end up that way. So it was like, well, if I go get a divorce, are you gonna sign? And I kept saying no. I said no, I ain't gonna sign. I ain't gonna sign. Because I looked up the law and everything. I don't have to sign. You can do what you want to do. First of all, I'm not going to pay no extra money out of my pocket. That's one thing. This is what you want. You're gonna pay for it. So eventually, it got real toxic to the point where I was in a situation and she wasn't even staying in the house no more. So she was coming in and out of the house. Like I would come home from work and she'd been making t-shirts on her t-shirt machine. The kicker to it was she I forgot who was saying, you don't tell the dude that is gonna go boo boo crazy. I'm not the dude that's gonna go boo boo crazy. I'm just me. I'm real meek and humble. So it's like she knew that she could kind of do whatever because she knew I wasn't gonna react. She knew I wasn't gonna go off domestic violence, none of that. So it got to a point where I said, I want the key to this apartment. You don't live here no more. You come in and out, and that ain't cool. She told me no. Said, all right. I went to Home Depot within 10 minutes after her leaving the house that night. Got a new deadbolt, changed locks. That was a Saturday. I think I talked to Jeremy that Saturday night. The Sunday morning, I was at Walmart. I bought like $10 worth of boxes, and I just started going through the house, packing up every single thing that was not mine. That's when I realized that I was through. And I remember sending pictures of Jeremy to the other boxes. Jeremy was like, "Oh, you for real?" I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "Hey, all your stuff got to be up here by the end of December." Because I didn't want to go into the new year still looking at the stuff. Because the second part about it was everything was still on the dresser. Stuff was still in the bathroom. The house was still set up as if it was life as normal, but it wasn't. So I wanted to get that image out of my head. I brought all my superhero posters out the back. I started putting them all across the living room. I was like, this is my spot now. Spider-Man will come up here. We'll put Power Rangers over here. It was lit. Living room was lit. And it just got to that point. It just got to that point where I just said, all right, I'm done. And yeah. So it's been about a 2x4. But it just got to that point where I finally gave up. And the crazy part is I didn't even know that she filed. I found out just by calling downtown to the courts or whatever. And that's when I was like, all right, what else I got to do so I can go and get this over with. And then I really started jumping, started living life, start traveling Mobile every weekend. But that's how I'm at now. I'm done. Who was gonna say something? Okay.
I have a question, Mr. David Ruffin. Do you feel that if she would have came to you about it, do you think you would have forgave her?
That's the thing though. She confessed. She confessed to me.
Could you forgive her? I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so put it like this. You asked, could I forgive her? All right, and I gave you the scenario of the person was still there physically around. Now is being called a best friend, right? Imagine I take a steel toe boot, and me and you cool, we cool, you come on my house every weekend. I take a steel toe boot, and I step on your foot, and I break your toe. And I apologize. You forgive me. We cool. You get your foot bandaged up, all that stuff. You're starting to heal, right? Starting to heal.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're still cool, you still come to my house, and I got that steel toe boot sitting on my mountain. And every time you come to my house, you gotta look at that steel toe boot. And every time you bring up something about that steel toe boot, I look at you like, so? I mean, that boot gonna stay there. That's why I put my steel toe boot at. And
I just really feel like she don't care. She didn't care. I feel like it was like her ultimate move to just hurt him at the least, at the last, very, you know what I'm saying, at the last. But after she already knew what she was doing, she didn't care. And I felt like it was like the ultimate move to say, nah, I got you. What you gonna do about it? To see, it's like a checkmate kind of thing. I just never felt like she had any remorse.
Ain't nobody fought her?
I don't know what that bitch at, but just believe. She never, that was another thing. When he would come home, they would come home together. She was never around. We would never see her, ever. I've never even met her. Literally. And that was why I didn't care for her, because I'm like, yo, you date my brother, you know, he look at me like a sister. We've been together forever, and I never met her. That was an issue for me, because you know what I'm saying? He come home. Why you ain't never with him? You know what I'm saying? So you always went with your folks, so you always did your own thing. And to me, like, when you come home, you visit everybody together, go and get your things out the way, and then you separate. You don't be doing it first. So that was my issue with her before all this happened.
Raggedy bitch. Okay, I'm gonna mute.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe of that audacity, that and what mentality at the end of it. Is one thing, you know, like if this person is still in my life, I ain't gonna bring them around you whatsoever. Something got to change if we're really gonna continue to be with each other. Because at that point, if you're my wife, I'm not gonna keep you in a situation where you know the gears are still turning. The person guilty is still around me, therefore there's a potential of me doing it again. So I definitely got that and what mentality from that situation. So I agree with y'all. It was like the ultimate fuck you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I ain't for violence against women, but bitches feel differently about it.
All I heard was 2-piece from Churches and a biscuit. So now that because I don't know if you're like 100% completely healed, it sounds like you're at least about a good 90%, 95% healed. Do you think you'll get back out there, Mr. David?
I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna let Lauren tell my story, because apparently she's very vocal.
He went up there.
She said.
He went up there. I like her. Anybody who ready to cock their head to the side, if they, you know what I'm saying, that's a big thing for me. If I speak to you and I'm standing with somebody, like for instance, we standing together, and I say, hey Malcolm, and you won't do this, bitch, you see me standing here, anybody that got that man out too, you good with me. You good with me, because I know you gonna protect him when I ain't around. I know that you got him. I know you gonna always check somebody. I know that you're gonna be there. I know you got the best intentions. But yeah, like, she talked to me, you could tell she was nervous, and she could also tell that she didn't give a fuck what I thought either. So I like that about her. You know. So, but yeah, I think the part of his healing process was just him opening up and becoming himself in as a whole, like being more open with his business, being more open with his healing, and being more open to, accept somebody who kind of went through the same thing, because that's the hard thing. But the only thing, the advice I'm going to give him is just watch out for your triggers. You know what I'm saying? Because your triggers are going to come at the weirdest times, or if she do something, just watch how your response is, because, triggers just going to come. That's all.
I'm glad you said that about the triggers. Just want to say that.
So with the new lucky lady, how do you feel about her, but like, how do you feel about your future with her? Because we know for the other one, we didn't know anything about it. We didn't have any clues or red flags that we know about. So like, you feel like this one is going to actually be her, or is it just like a little dating thing so far?
I don't want, for where I'm at right now, because of where I've been, it's like I don't put like a destination on it. It's one of those situations where I know this person got my back. You know what I'm saying? So I know there are things I don't have to worry about with that person. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's what makes it easier. That's what makes it more comfortable. That's what makes it more reality based. You feel?
I think one thing, I think Mr. Wyatt, Mr. Stokes,
I've been stroking.
Did you say strokes?
Hey, that's my dog. Put some respect on my dog.
That sounds like an X-rated name. White Strokes.
Mr. Strokes.
Wacka wow wow. Wyatt Strokes.
Wyatt, you know you gotta have that as your name every time now, right? That is officially your squad goals name.
Listen.
Change it right now.
Change it right now.
I forgot what I was gonna ask. Damn. Okay, never mind.
Wyatt Strokes.
Okay, so you said something about Mr. Stokes said something about confidence and confidence within men. And do you feel a lot better and a lot confident in your woman? Because you said that she's giving you everything that you need at this point. So you don't even have to turn around because you already know she got your back at this point. So are you feeling confident, like greatly confident in yourself as well as in her, as well as in your relationship?
Do you have doubts? Okay.
Damn.
I'm not gonna say I have any doubts. I'm gonna say I am more confident in life. I feel like I'm back where I used to be. I'm back to, I don't want to say the old me, but like the Malcolm 2.0.
You improved Malcolm.
Right. Because I can, and I'm gonna let, because it's cool to speak on yourself, but I'll let Jeremy can break it down a whole lot better, because I met Jeremy beginning of last year, beginning of 19.
If I can unmute myself. Yes.
All right. So I can't remember when I told Jeremy, but I told him. So if anything, I'll let Jeremy break down how I was then to how I was now. Right.
So I first met Malcolm when I interviewed him, actually, for my podcast, 2020 Podcast LLC. Go follow. We had a really deep conversation on what it is in the courage in doing what you like and being like that truth in being yourself. And we did the interview, and we just kept chopping it up afterwards, just always bouncing creative ideas back and forth. For a little bit, he waned, he kind of backed off, and him and I had to establish this relationship where we would just call and just talk. And so I let him know that, if you need to talk, I'm here, bro. And so he let me know what happened. And then I, stuck with him. We give each other encouraging words during that time of him transitioning through it and dealing with it. And it was, when it was all said and done, I never forget, Malcolm. It was after court. I never forget that day after court. You had called me like as soon as you walked out of there, and you was like, "Bro, it's done." And I've had friends like Wyatt, who've gone through a divorce, and it's like a happy / it's a bittersweet situation with a divorce being complete. It's like, yeah, you're happy that it's over, but at the same time, it's like a Pyrrhic victory. You know what I'm saying? It's like it took a lot more than what it should have. And in this situation, Malcolm was he was more on the up. Like I noticed his mood increased because he felt like he got rid of this burden. Because this was a situation where Malcolm wasn't necessarily wrong. It was, this person was wrong. It was poison to him, and it was a hard process, but he rid himself of that poison. Now that he had that toxic person out of his life, he was able to embrace what it was that made Malcolm again. Hell, we was planning a damn what did we call it, Malcolm? A get back tour where we was just gonna hit every convention in the area.
Yeah, the Alpha Blood Tour 2020.
The Alpha Blood Tour.
Down. It's still going down.
Right.
After
we planned out how we was gonna go ham, because he was like, "Yo, there's nothing stopping me from success now. I got the people that want the best around me right now. I can get back to what I wanted." And he was back to old Malcolm. He was back to talking to people. If you meet Malcolm in person, Malcolm gonna run up, hug you, and talk to you like he ain't seen you in 100 years. That's just how he is. He's a vibrant person. And to see the vibrant person, see the vibrancy go away, and then to see it come back stronger than ever is like everything. It inspired me to do more. So it's all about your circles, man, at the end.
It sounds like you went through some death there, and death isn't always such a bad thing. Sometimes you have to let that shit shed off of you. And then when you're resurrected, you come back a completely new person, and that's really great. So I'm really glad to hear that.
The motherfucking Phoenix.
And like somebody like Lauren, who I've known Lauren since we was like, what, 13?
Yeah, I think like
you know what I'm saying?
6th grade, yeah.
Like 6th, 7th grade. Like she knew something wasn't right. And I just wouldn't talk to Lauren. I was like, Lauren.
He wouldn't say anything. Always calling
because I didn't want to face the house.
Oh, he'll get off the phone with me real quick. That's what he would do. He'd be like, "Oh, I would just call and check on you. All right, bye." What? Like he would just hang up the phone really quick. He would like run because I can sniff. I told you I can sniff out anything with everybody. Yeah, he didn't. He just duck and dodge.
But it was a real reality opener. So my question to the squad is, in the event where you have to leave the cheating, whether you were doing it or it was being done to you, what would your mindset be? How do you think your mindset would be? I'm gonna go with Wyatt first.
So my mindset. So with my ex, like me and her, we have a kid together. So we got my son, and so like my mindset, I really kind of went into just being a dad, like, and like I found stuff to kind of preoccupy myself and things like that. Like I'm still trying to get out of just being in daddy mode, because like that was my role. That was my safe area. Because I just felt like, if I just bury my head in the sand, so to speak, that it's just easier. You know what I mean? Because I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about the pain. But when like right now he's not here, so like it's stuff where I have to really go through and reevaluate myself. And then a couple years, like about a year or so ago, I realized like it doesn't benefit myself or it doesn't benefit him to see me not happy or not to see me in a positive relationship. So like I've tried to take steps, and I talked to Jeremy about it before, like just making sure that I go about trying to really get over the pain, but then also learn from it, and kind of for Ben's sake try to show what a positive relationship is going to look like.
You know how good that is to like hear. I mean, I'm not gonna say that women. I guess we do sometimes. We think we are the only people or the only ones that go through stuff. Men don't care. Or, we look at men to be like stronger and shrug stuff off their shoulders and let it roll off their back, and they're not really affected by relationships all the time. But like, it's refreshing to hear that Black men do have these experiences, and y'all not afraid to talk about it, and that y'all do got somebody y'all to talk to. So hats off to Jeremy for being so awesome to so many damn people, male, female, or whatever. And I just wanted to say you have a positive impact on your friends' lives. We feel like we could talk to you. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Like there's a bunch of times where I just call Jeremy and I'll be like, bruh, this doesn't make sense. And low key, Jeremy, sometimes he just sit there and listen. And sometimes like he be biting his tongue because he be wanting to say stuff, but like he be like, it's not in the positive light. So like Jeremy does a really good job of, and like we've always talked about just being leaders of men, and it's not necessarily being something that like that you have to tell people what to do, but sometimes leading somebody is just letting them find their own path. And Jeremy does a really good job of listening and kind of picking out what you say, and also turning it against you. Not in a bad way, but in the same instance of like, okay, you just said this, but you're doing this. So what do you want to do to make yourself better? So it's really good because Jeremy does take that time and really listen and learn, and helps you. So, it definitely helps out. That's off to him.
And to answer, what's his man name? Yeah, his name Malcolm. I get confused. He keep changing it. But to answer Malcolm's question about like what's the mindset, whether you were the cheater or you being cheated on. I was with somebody for like 5 years. Before that, I was like in a 8-year relationship. I gave myself a 2-year break. I focused on everything I need to do, accomplish things, and I felt like I was ready for a relationship again. So this relationship was like almost 5 years, and it resulted in me having a child with this person. Now, I had never experienced in my life, not in my adult life, being like cheated on. I've had relationships in, but not because of cheating. So the things he did, the level like a manipulation and cheating, I had never experienced those things. I didn't know how to deal with them. I wasn't exposed to it personally. So when it finally ended, my first reaction, well, when I decided to finally let it go, my first reaction was, I did all I could. It ain't me, it's him. And I'm doing this for me. I'm doing it because, I'm tired of feeling this way. Like they say, when you tired, you tired. I was doing it because like I discovered I was better outside of the situation. It was changing me and who I was and my character. So I did it because I felt like my life depended on me leaving it alone. Or I was going to be in jail. And shit, I ain't trying to go to jail either. I enjoyed my freedom, so I got to let the nigga go. So that was my mindset. I did all I could. It was nothing he could say. That was it. I did my part, and that wasn't that wasn't enough for you. And, I deserve better. So that was it.
I'm going to say this because we're at the 5-minute left mark. I'm going to jump in. So we're going to pull up the little church moment where we wrap it up. But I appreciate y'all. But I've always been that kind of person that I gotta rip that Band-Aid off. I can't slowly peel that motherfucker. I can't. I recently had a situation where I was slow peeling a Band-Aid and it hurts fucking worse because you're extending the time of that pain and it
Because you're trying to hold your thumb.
Exactly. So I was trying to hold on to something that wasn't there, and it was poison, and it's worse, and especially worse when other people see the poison killing you. And at this point, it's like pride, it's embarrassment, humility, all of that is in the air. So yeah, I just rip the shit off and get out of there.
I'll go ahead and go and just say that for me, I had to stop running. I realized that my cheating was a result of, like I said, from that very first relationship that I thought I let go, that I never did. I was constantly just running. So the moment I stopped running and I started to love me and be for me, everything else kind of came into terms. And, you know, my husband just kind of came along and just laid up in there.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say something real quick as well. I also have a podcast. Thank you, Jeremy, for letting me say that. I just did a mini series on, it's called #Relationship Goals, from the beginning, before finding someone, all the way down to around getting engaged and marriage. And it's going to give you a lot of information that you never even really thought about. I just got into a really great relationship that I've been in for almost 3 years, and I've learned so much from being just a stupid bitch on the street. So, like, you know, if you guys just want to get some information or whatever, the last one is going to be an episode of you guys asking questions. I'm going to have a panel. We're going to answer these questions, and we're going to make sure that that we can get everybody's head wrapped around, you know, like the good parts of relationships, because we all deserve a good person. We all do. So if you guys want to, like, you know, listen to it or whatever, just let me know and I'll drop the link. It's called Live Your Life Podcast. So, you know, if you want to know, just let me know. Make sure y'all go listen to it. All right.
Hey, Breezy, bring your ass on up here. You know we got a few minutes left. Or did she freeze? I think you froze.
She froze.
I think she left.
Oh, there she go.
Hey, I'm glad.
Hello.
Oh, she did.
You got 2 minutes, girl.
Oh, I got 2 minutes. Well, yeah, I just want to thank y'all for this conversation because it touched my spirit. I feel like I have been purified, and, you know, there is really room at the cross, you guys. You know what I'm saying? You can go ahead and just put all your sins right there at the cross, and you can leave them there. So from this day forward, I promise I will not be that bad word that just do things, you know, just because of the facts, you know what I'm saying? So anything that applied prior to this year, you know what I'm saying? I'm a new person. I have been cleansed of my sins, and I definitely will apply everything that you guys have told me today. So thank you guys for this. This is really touched my spirit.
Well, I definitely appreciate all of y'all taking time out y'all day to do this, man. Y'all are the greatest. I look forward to doing more of these. Well, if you don't mind, I would love to hear from anyone that's watching this. If you got an idea for a topic, drop it in the comments. Hopefully we see it in time. We can get that topic rolling. So on behalf of Surf 2020 podcast, everyone included, I'll make sure to include the link from Katie's podcast in the description below.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, we love you and peace. Good night.
Good night, everybody.